Hello everybody, I'm Bob Mavity, Technical Director of the Grand Opera House here in Macon, Georgia, a Performing Arts Center of Mercer University. Normally, I give tours to people physically right here in the building who want to learn about the history of the theater and take a look at our beautiful space. But today, with the way things are going, we're going to help you with a little social distancing and give you a wonderful tour of our theater through the beauty of the internet and through video. I hope you enjoy it. Join me for this fun tour. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of history about the theater itself. Originally on this space was the Academy of Music. This is the Academy of Music. It was a male vocal academy here that was a wonderful space for people to come and watch the students when they performed shows after they had learned so much about using the male voice. It was specifically designed for the male vocal acoustic and resonant. Now, over the years, the rumor and the thought process had always been that they had removed this beautiful facade from the theater and just built this building in front of it. But as we did more research during our renovations, we found out that that wasn't the case. And in fact, when this theater reopened in 1904, it was a completely new space, brand new from the bottom to the top. Now, once it became the Grand Opera House in 1904, this building has housed many, many wonderful productions. Everything from local stuff that's like dance recitals and commencements and graduations to amazing musical performances. As commemorated in this plaque right here, Hank Williams Jr. and the Allman Brothers were one of many artists that performed on this stage. In fact, there was a classic Allman Brothers concert that was nationally televised called Saturday Night in Macon, Georgia, with Wet Willie in Central Park, the Marshall Tucker Band, and the Allman Brothers playing right here on this stage. We show that video every once in a while here as part of our movie series. Hope you join us next time. It's an amazing thing to see. Well, everybody, I think that we have talked about as much as we can out here. Why don't we go on inside and take a look at some of the things that are happening inside the building now. Over recent years, we have done a great deal of renovations in the theater. Everything from air conditioning on stage for the stage house to new seats in the auditorium. Bathrooms up here that have been completely renovated, which has been needed for a very long time, as well as our spaces up here in the front. This is the encore room. It's our original reception space that we had and where we serve refreshments for most shows. This used to be the only place that we had to be able to do that. They've done a great job renovating it, and it's a wonderful little space. But the real gem that we have is on the other side. If you walk this way, this is the real gem of that renovation for the front house. This is the Center State Bank reception room. This used to be nothing more than a terrible storage room that had no life to it whatsoever. It was where we kept a lot of the props and things that we needed and supplies for other things. It has been completely transformed into a beautiful space for us to be able to do meetings, gatherings, receptions, baby showers, you name it, we've done it in this room already, and we can't wait to do more. Would you like to take a look inside? So here we are inside the Center State Bank reception room. As you look, you can see this is a beautiful location. We've updated things and made it pretty modern while still being pretty elegant at the same time. We've got video screens that advertise our upcoming shows and
all the people that have helped us here, as well as a screen that has ads for all kinds of things. We use this space for a little bit of everything, and you can tell that it works that way. We're really thankful to Center State Bank for putting their name on this and being a part of the great renovation that has happened here at the Grand. And we look forward to seeing you in this room as soon as we can all get together.
All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at the Center State Bank room. Right now, we're going to go ahead and enter on into the auditorium where I'm going to give you a little bit more history about the theater, things that have happened here, and things that we're looking forward to getting back to as soon as the world gets back to right. Now, the Grand Opera House has been here since 1904. And during that time frame, we have had everything from the original touring production of Ben-Hur with rolling floors, the actual Arabian horses pulling chariots with a scrolling backdrop was on this stage. We've had all kinds of other productions that have been here, from Ray Charles to Vincent Price. We've covered the gamut from symphony orchestras to rock bands to even local dance recitals and wonderful things like the Otis Music Camp, which happens here. They do their final show here every year, and we love to be a part of it. Now, there's a lot of history here and there's a lot of myth here. If you look around this theater, it was rumored very much that this theater was the same theater that was here before. But in actuality, the back of that theater would be right here at the front of our proscenium. And the front of the stage of that theater would actually be right in line with our balcony, right there. So it was a much smaller space. It also stopped about where that door frame is right there, that's your second entrance. So it was a much smaller area, but it was a fantastic place to see. But after they got ready to do the renovations to add that building, the architect that came in to do it said, you know, I'm gonna build you a theater, but it won't be the one that was there. So he used a lot of the same ideas and architecture that came from that original one, including the acoustics that are better suited for a male voice. By the way, we have bass traps in the ceiling and everything rolls, and there's very few hard surfaces for it to bounce off of or corners. The theater has been a wonderful place for the community and a big part over the years. I myself have played on this stage with my rock band, got married on this stage, which I have to tell you, I would not suggest getting married where you work. But if you work a place like this, why not? It was awesome. And then even later on, my son got married on this same stage. So for me, this is a family. Oh, I also forgot, my wife danced on this stage when she was about 4 years old. So it's part of the history of people that are here in Macon, and we love being a part of everybody's lives. Well, everybody, I say that now we should go up on stage so I can give you a little bit more information about some of the cool things about the Grand Opera House and give you a different perspective than most people get. Most people have to stay out here in the audience, but the rare few that get to go on stage see it from a whole different angle. Come on. Well, here we are now. We're on the stage of the Grand Opera House, which at one time was the deepest stage in the Southeast. Now, of course, with modern facilities, we have been surpassed, and it hasn't been that long, though, really. It's only been since about the 80s that somebody built a theater that was deeper than this one. The fun thing that we have to deal with when we do productions here is that big shows come in and they're used to a wider stage. They're not used to the depth that we have, they're used to more width. Now, we've tried everything we can think of to try to expand the size of the stage, but they just haven't made a building stretcher good enough to stretch our building wider. So we're kind of left with where these walls are. It doesn't mean we can't have a great production here, it just makes it a little bit more challenging. as we only have a 40-foot wide stage area, and most places have 60 to 70. So for us, it's always a challenge putting on these shows, but it's a challenge worth doing. So this is the functioning trapdoor left behind by Houdini. Now, we've replaced a lot of pieces to it. There's actually a lot of the original parts still here. The lever, the pole, those things are original. Now, of course, the mechanism we've had to replace, and the wood itself has been replaced. But the actual function of it is still the same. And every year, the Rat King from Nutcracker, our local Nutcracker of Middle Georgia's production here, arises from here. And then we set off a couple of big bombs in front of him because he's doing some magic. The trapdoor put in by Harry Houdini still functions and works for us every year for the Rat King to make his exit. An interesting fact, when John Tesh performed here, he was such a Houdini fan that he demanded that he come through the trapdoor without his band even knowing it. He had them go on stage. They started vamping his intro music. They were really confused about where he was and where he was coming from. Looked around and couldn't find him. But we were in on the joke. And so a spotlight hit right here, the door opened, and he arose from the... He really loved it. So, we've kind of covered everything that's happening down here on this level. And we're going to give you an extra special treat in this video. Something that most people that get a tour here don't even get the opportunity to see. We're going to go up and actually visit our peanut gallery. Why don't you guys come on? Okay, so this is an extra special treat for you right now. Very few people, unless you work at this theater, are probably one of the young ladies from Nutcracker because they almost always want a tour. So right now I'm going to show you the interesting way we have to get to our spotlights into the peanut gallery. You ready? Come on. Invention is the mother of necessity. So here we have a hole cut in the wall with a plank that gets us over here to keep us from having to climb all the stairs at the back of the house to get to this location. Seems a little awkward, but let me just tell you, when you're doing a show, it's the only way to go. Welcome to the Peanut Gallery. So welcome to the Peanut Gallery. Now, this area has some amazing history. If you look around, you'll notice beautiful wood benches that have very little space for you to sit on. Now, this is supposedly one of the most complete peanut galleries in the world. Now, some of you may not know where the term peanut gallery comes from. And it actually comes from the refreshments they were served when they were up here. Peanuts were normally served in this area because they were easy to deal with. Dried peanuts, people would take them, break the hulls, eat the peanuts, and throw the shells on the floor. The floor itself slopes from the center to the outside. And its main design is so that they can come through and start at the middle and sweep both directions to sweep those shells outside. This used to be a freestanding building, and outside the doors on either side, there was actually chutes that would then be swept into those. The peanut shells would go all the way down to barrels at the bottom, where then they would be taken away. That is where the term peanut gallery comes from. It's a description of what they were fed when they were up here. So if you've ever been told by your grandmother, that's enough from the peanut gallery, this is where she's talking about. So here I am sitting in one of the pews in our peanut gallery. As you can see, it's not a very comfortable location. Not much room for your hind end here, and definitely not much leg room for a 6'1" guy. Now I know back in the day people were a little bit smaller, so it may not have been quite as bad as it is for me. But for the most part, this was during segregation. And so African Americans were the ones that had to sit up here in these less than comfortable situations. One of those people that actually was up here was Macon's first African American millionaire, Charles Douglas. Now Charles loved coming here bringing his wife because his wife loved theater. But as you can see by these wonderful surroundings, it was difficult for her to get up here, and it was even more difficult once she got here for her to comfortably watch a show. Due to that, when Mr. Douglas decided that he had had enough, he took some of his money and he created the first African American focused theater here in Macon, Georgia, the Douglas Theater, bringing them programs that feature people like Cab Calloway. He did that out of love. So I like to look at it in this way. Even though we know it was a negative time, from that, we got another beautiful theater right down the street that's still functioning and running today. And just like us, they're ready for this to all be over so we can all get together and show up over there for a performance as well. Well, I hope everybody has enjoyed this little virtual tour of the Grand Opera House, a performing arts space of Mercer University. At this time, with everybody being locked away and having to keep to themselves, maybe this brings everybody a little joy and gets them a feeling of being out in the world. We can't wait till we get to see you face to face, and we get to do another show in this building where we all come together and enjoy a wonderful performance. Until then, everybody stay safe, take care, and take care of your arts organizations. We need you now more than ever.